It's great to see you. I just want to start by asking you about the courts, because we're going to hear all sorts of things from Trump tonight. I suspect many of them will not be truthful. And I just wanted to get a sense from you on, for people watching, how is it going with the courts? And what can people expect is next here in terms of the court's actions?
Well, I've always said we are going to be fighting this in the courts with our Democratic attorney generals. We're going to be fighting it in Congress with holding our colleagues responsible. If just, by the way, 3 House members stood up, or 4 Republican senators and 3 Republican House members, the future would look very different. And then we're fighting it with our constituents by our side. Courts, Congress, constituents. In the courts, we have won 35 of those cases so far where there has at least been a pause to these, what I consider unconstitutional, illegal actions. And they have been Republican-appointed judges, Trump-appointed judges, Bush-appointed judges, Reagan-appointed judges. They're still around. And, of course, Democratic-appointed judges. So I think the federal judiciary, I've always predicted this from the day of the inauguration on, is very important here. Now, we have yet to see what the Supreme Court will do in any major way. But some of these cases, like the birthright citizenship you just acknowledged, to me, they're pretty clear-cut.
There's always a back. I mean, this is not a normal speech. We've been talking about that already. Not a normal 6 weeks of a presidency either. But there's always a backdrop to these speeches. You know, you've attended a lot of them. Ari's covered a lot of them. I've helped write a lot of them or worked on a lot of them. Ukraine and what happened on Friday and the shock of that, I think, is kind of the backdrop here. And obviously the actions that Trump has taken since then, pulling back military assistance to Ukraine, reports of pulling back cyber actions against Russia. You've said, and you're such a straight shooter, so I want to ask you about this. You've said you think there's still chance for a reset here. Why? Mm-hmm. And what is going to be a sign from you that that's possible in the chamber tonight?
Well, the president has to make it clear that he stands with his allies, which is 50% of our economy when you look at Europe, Japan, South Korea, and not the 3% of the economy that is Russia. And it is also, of course, about standing up for a democracy that has shed blood, buried their own, and stopped a dictator from marching through Ukraine into other European nations. That's what Zelensky has done. That's what the brave Ukrainian patriots have done. So I want to hear an acknowledgement of that. Why do I think it's still possible? Many of my Republican colleagues, while they may not be out there publicly behind the scenes, they have been advocating for this reset. The European allies, whether it's the French president or the British prime minister, have stood up and said, we will give troops to enforce a peace agreement. We will make sure that, unlike the past ones that Vladimir Putin has run through, like the Minsk agreement, that there will be some kind of security guarantees. So I just felt, meeting with Zelensky before he went to the disastrous meeting at the White House where he was berated by J.D. Vance, I felt that there was hope. And I'm just not going to give up on that hope whenever you have patriots like you see in Ukraine doing the work for democracies around the world.
Hi, Senator Ari here. That makes a lot of sense how you just put it. When you look at an address like tonight, the president's first since returning to the White House, what are your markers? We've talked about fact-checking, sure, but even by what we might call a more electoral or political marker, he made a lot of claims in the campaign, including bringing down prices and saying he would think about people's economic situation more than he said his opponents did. That's another marker. What are your markers tonight?
Well, Ari, when you look at the State of the Union, we have corruption up, we have chaos up, and we have costs up. Ask anyone in the egg aisle. 25% increase in wholesale egg prices, major increases in lumber, major increase in rent, major increase when it comes to so many goods, and now the tariffs on top of it. We bringing guests to the State of the Union. Peter Welch is bringing a maple syrup producer out of Vermont. We've got people that know what these tariffs are going to do economically, including a farmer from Minnesota. So I think the marker is going to be, does he keep true to his promise that he's going to work on things that matter to the people of this country, which is bringing down costs? He has not been doing it. He's been doing anything but it, and he's been making it worse. Rent, the cost of housing, health care, prescription drugs, child care. That's what we need to focus on. And Democrats have been ready to work with him, but instead all he engages in is unconstitutional power grabs and chaos. And that has been setting our country back, and the American people know it and they see it, and the polls are starting to show it big time.
You mentioned some of the guests Democrats are bringing. And while this is not the Super Bowl for everyone, it might be the Super Bowl for civics nerds, it is still fair to observe a shared national event that pierces through because, like a Super Bowl, it'll be on many people's minds. It'll be all over the internet in some form. And it'll be on many channels for people who watch TV. So what is the Democratic Party doing in those guests? How are you using tonight to personify some of these public service veterans and some of whom have been ousted?
You know, this is so important because the people in this country, who will be so many of the Democrats' guests in that chamber, they tell the story better than any politician. The park ranger that Senator Bennett brought and Senator Warner is bringing from Virginia, who have been fired, one of them fighting fires, one of them working in our national parks. The people who have been helped by cancer trials that Senator Schumer is bringing, a young girl that saved her life, the trials at NIH. These are real people that put a face to this. And yes, it is workers who have been laid off in the most undignified way, but it's also people that are affected by the Trump policies, that you're starting just to see a small business owner from New Hampshire that Senator Shaheen is bringing, who is affected by these tariffs. We want the faces of America there because the power of the president and the power of those electeds in the room, including the Republicans, for which we're waiting for 3 to stand up in the House and 4 to stand up in the Senate. We've been waiting now for a month. Their power doesn't come from in that room of electeds on the floor. It comes from who's going to be watching them from above. And most importantly, it comes from the people of America. And that's what our job right now, when I said courts, Congress, and constituents, is to be at the side of our constituents and help them to make the case.